Hi, my name is Ameya. I am the founder and the director at Admit Abroad, which is a study abroad company. We were started in 2019 as a vertical within Vidyalankar, and since then we have counseled over 2,000 students to study abroad in different countries. And we've actually placed more than 300 students in universities across 10 countries. So right now we are a team of 11 people, that's including me, so 10 others other than me. In that team, we have 5 people who are sales counselors and 5 of them handle the operations and the applications. Before we started using ExtraaEdge, we were primarily using Google Sheets and Excel sheets to manage our admissions as well as our applications. Because of that, the major challenges that we were facing was that there was a lot of lead duplication. And secondly, because everything was done manually, there was no way for us to actually nurture leads because we could not segregate leads and automate the whole email marketing, WhatsApp marketing process. And then the final challenge was that once a student did enroll, we had no reliable way of figuring out whether the student actually had enrolled or was a lead. And so our sales team would keep calling enrolled students and trying to sell our services to them, which was obviously not a good experience. So these were the 3 main challenges that we faced before adopting ExtraaEdge. Luckily I've been blessed with a good team of counselors who actually don't need to be tracked in terms of what work they are doing. But the major challenge I faced was in terms of training. So for example, let's say that I had 3 counselors and one of them was performing really well compared to the other 2. Now there was no way for me to figure out what this one counselor was doing differently compared to the other 2. And there was no way where I could extract those insights out of the top performing counselors' counseling process and impart those teachings to the rest of the team. So this was one major challenge I was facing around team training and performance. After we adopted ExtraaEdge, I think the biggest benefit was that all our leads were organized. That was the first benefit. So everyone knew who had to call which lead. All the leads were categorized based on whether they had enrolled or whether they were leads. We could also do drip marketing campaigns to them via WhatsApp, SMS, email, because ExtraaEdge allows us those features. So overall, we became far more efficient as an organization after we started using ExtraaEdge. Another cool feature of ExtraaEdge is that I can now listen into my counselors talks with the students. I can see what emails they are sending. So I took up this exercise where I went through the emails and the conversations of my top performing counselor, and from that I got some really good insights as to how she is converting students, and I used those insights to train the rest of the team. So that overall raised the effectiveness of the whole team. And that is why I think what has happened is within 3 months of using ExtraaEdge, our conversion rate has actually doubled. So the admission season is going great. We are on track to double our revenue this year compared to last year. And in terms of the team adoption, it's been quite easy. Frankly speaking, ExtraaEdge it's quite an intuitive software. So there was not much training which was needed. I think within 10 days of using ExtraaEdge, I think everyone was using it on a daily basis, and people had forgotten that they ever used Google Sheets or Excel. There were small gaps in our understanding of how the system works, but the ExtraaEdge team was actually very helpful in helping us understand how exactly the system works, and they were very responsive in getting us over that initial phase. So no problems in team adoption. It has actually been quite easy. Adopting to ExtraaEdge actually did not take months. It took only 10 days. Because before we actually adopted it, I had a long discussion with your founder Abhivalam, and also with the customer success team, and we designed we customized your product in such a way that it could fit my team, so that my team did not feel that they were working on something new. Like the vocabulary that we use, the categories that we use, the way the leads flow, they're all very intuitive and all very similar to what the counselors were already doing. I think that is the beauty, where because a lot of these SaaS products or a lot of CRMs, it takes a lot of time for adoption, and if adoption is difficult, then no one ends up using it. But with ExtraaEdge, 10 days, that's it. So I think there are three standout things that ExtraaEdge does, which probably help differentiate it compared to other CRMs, and what really helped us improve our results. The first one is the ability for a counselor to sort the leads based on multiple parameters. So you can sort the leads based on whether they have how many times they have inquired. You can sort the leads based on the lead score, that is how much they have engaged with us, and multiple other factors. Now, this sort of sorting of leads and prioritization of leads is very important, because we do so many marketing campaigns, we can't possibly call all the students. So we need to be able to figure out which are the students who are the most who are most likely to convert, and ExtraaEdge offers us a lot of data points around that. So this is, I think, the first standout feature. The second thing I think that what ExtraaEdge does really well is that for me as the leader of the team, it allows me to slice and dice data in like several ways. I can create custom reports and see the data by counselor. I can see them by marketing campaign. So I can really get a feel for what is working, what is not working, who is working and who is not working. And that's very powerful for me to drive the team growth in the future. That's the second thing. And I think the third thing which makes ExtraaEdge stand out compared to other CRMs is not a feature, but I think it's the culture of the team. So what I mean by that is our use case was actually pretty different from what ExtraaEdge had served in the past. And everyone in the team was really involved in how they can make us successful. And if I go to some other CRM, they're not going to make so many customizations for me. They have like a standard product and they try to sell that product to you. But it's that they wanted us to succeed, and so they made a lot of changes into their system. And I think that is the third thing that probably which is very powerful for ExtraaEdge.
So happy to hear that, sir. Avinash would be really happy to see this video. Okay. My next question is, what results did you achieve by using our CRM and marketing automation platform?
So the biggest result, there are two kinds of results. The first is that in terms of our conversion ratio, we doubled our conversion ratio of leads to enrollments within 3 months of adoption. So that's a pretty short time. And I think the second biggest thing is more on how much time we save. So I recall that every week we have a marketing review meeting, and before we used ExtraaEdge, we would go through each and every lead manually, and each review meeting would take around 2 to 3 hours because we would have to go through every lead. Now what I can do is I can prioritize which leads I want to go to, and so my marketing meetings have basically come down to half an hour, the sales review meetings. So it's also saved a lot of time. So there's value on both sides. One in terms of the effort also that I need to take to make sure that I get the results. Oh yeah, so before we took ExtraaEdge, what I noticed is that we have to follow up with the student around 5 times before the student enrolls, or before we come to know whether the student wants to enroll. Now what we do is we follow up only twice or maximum thrice, and what allows us to do that is when we do drip marketing campaigns, we can see how many students are engaging with our campaigns, and that's a very good proxy to figure out whether the student is interested in our service or not. So if we see that a particular lead is not engaging with our campaigns for a long duration, say 3 email campaigns, 4 WhatsApps, whatever, then my team just doesn't follow up with them, and that is a lot of time which gets saved. So now I can focus on approaching many more leads and doing less follow-ups. So again, it's gone down from I think 5 follow-ups per student to something like 2 or 3 follow-ups per student. I think the first reason to recommend ExtraaEdge to people would be the quality of the team itself. Because the team is so engaged with the client, that's us, we can get everything done on a very short notice, and we can do a lot of experimentation. So I think that's the biggest plus that ExtraaEdge has, and which is why I do recommend it to other people. The second reason would basically just be how detailed and granular you can get with each and every lead. So you can see all how much the lead has engaged. You can see what conversations the lead has had. You can predict whether that lead is going to enroll or not based on their behavior. I don't think this is possible with any other CRM, the level of data, or the level of granularity of the data that I get. So that would be the second reason. And then the third reason why I would strongly recommend using ExtraaEdge is basically the ease of use. Our team adopted ExtraaEdge in just 10 days. With most other CRMs, I think it takes a few months at least. So just the whole ease of adoption, which I feel makes it again very seamless and very powerful to use. was not there with us from day one. He picked up our use case very quickly within 1 or 2 calls. And what I like most about Avinash is that, not only did he understand my use case and did he do everything that was needed, he actually suggested improvements to my own thought process. So he said that, okay, Ameya, I think we should do this, we should do that. This is how we can improve. And that was actually quite surprising because everything that he was suggesting would mean more work for him and his team. But I was really happy to see that, he was so enthusiastic. Like he talked to me as if, he owns Edward Abroad and he wants things to happen. So I think that was really good, and he's very approachable. There have been times where I've WhatsApped him at 11 o'clock at night and I've received a reply at 11:15 at night saying, "Ha, kal tak ho jayega." Things like that, So I couldn't have asked for a better success manager.